Welcome back to another 8-Sided blog. This is Tennyson E Stead, writer and director and founder of 8-Sided Films, here to talk about a subject that I was discussing earlier in the car with Marie Ipiluni, my best friend and the love of my life. And that subject is deadlines. And we got into basically a debate about how to manage them and how to make them work for you. And I myself always function best when I take a broad look at what I want to accomplish over the course of a year, and I block out time for projects. Because if a project goes over a specific time frame, then I'm losing other projects at the back end of the year. I'm starting to kill the things that are going to help me move my company and my career forward. And because I'm not willing to let that happen, I wind up managing those deadlines very effectively, and I wind up getting things done on time. Other people have a very, very hard time enforcing deadlines that are not imposed by themselves. And, apart from, as I just said, the idea that time is money, and the idea that we have a limited amount of time on this earth, and there's things that we do need to get done, and we need to plan accordingly, I don't necessarily have a solution for that, but I can sort of talk a little bit about the tricks that I use to keep myself focused on accomplishing my goals when they need to be accomplished. And the first is that I always make myself accountable to someone else. And it needs to be someone, typically, who is invested in me completing the thing that I'm doing. Because if I'm giving someone else updates on my progress, I'm more inclined to make sure that I turn around and I give them, that I have information to actually provide them. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's watching me work, then I'm going to be much more studious and much more attentive to detail than if I'm in a closet by myself and nobody knows what I'm doing. And for me, the trick is making sure that when I tell somebody when something's going to be done, that it's somebody who actually wants me to be held accountable for that. Because if they turn around and they're like, oh, whatever, just finish it. I mean, I've had conversations with people who tell me that, thinking they're being helpful, and I'm like, no. This is important for the following reasons. This is important that I get it done for you because you're counting on me for this, you're counting on me for that, And that, for me, accomplishes two things. Number one, it helps me stay focused on the reason why something needs to be done when it's done. The other thing that it does for me is it allows me to highlight my value to them. If I stand there and I say, look, this needs to get done because you need it done here so you can do this and this and this and this and this, then what that tells them is not just that I take my work very seriously. What that tells them is that I take their work very seriously, and I'm making sure that the support that I have to offer them is being done on a timetable that's going to empower them to accomplish their goals. And in that, it's important to be surrounded by people who do want to accomplish their goals, who are on point when it comes to pursuing their own deadlines, because they will actually notice the work that you're putting into that. The kind of person who is aware of the time that they're spending will also be aware of how you're making the most of the time that they invest in you. So that's one thing that I do to accomplish deadlines. And as I said, the other thing is that I keep track of my own time. I know, well, here's how keeping track of your own time works. What you have to do first and foremost is have clear goals that go beyond the immediate. This particular project that I'm working on is not the only project I intend to do this year. I know that I need to get this and this and this other thing written. Because if I can see what my long-term goal is, and I know the medium-term goals that it's going to take to achieve that, then as I start dealing with a short-term goal, I know all of the other stuff that I have to pack into the time in front of me, and I don't sit there telling myself, well, just another week, just another week, just another week. And I have to admit, these last couple of weeks I've taken, and by which I mean like really the last 2 months, I've taken a lot of personal time, more than I'm used to. I've taken time away from writing. I have put a lot of time into film finance and into sales and into supporting some production efforts and some financing efforts around the community. But in terms of my creative output, I've been very, very relaxed since finishing the script that I was working on for Tuella Films and Lady at the Light Productions. But I'm starting to get back into the swing of things. I'm starting to demand more from myself, and already I'm seeing how my time off has taken away from the goals that I have over the course of the year, and how I need to readjust my expectations of myself and what I'm going to let go of in the process. And that's okay, because truthfully, I have worked too hard and I do need some rest, and that's another subject for another blog at another time. It's a lesson I'm still learning. But I'm still making compromises, and I'm still making sacrifices for that time off, and it's important to know what you can let go of and what you can't, so as you move through your year, you know where your deadlines have to be. And then once you get a clear picture of where you want to be in 5 years and what it's going to take over the next 2 years to do that, and then what you have got to do right now to make sure that all those other things can happen, you start to see, this isn't... You don't have forever. You got to get it done now. So what are you going to do right now? And when does that work have to be done? Physically take a look at your calendar. Figure out when that work has to be done to allow for all this other stuff that you're doing. And then on a daily basis, you set aside an hour or two or whatever you need to do every day to make sure that that actually happens. Then, I don't know. I mean, if that makes sense to you, do it. If you don't, if you need some higher level of accountability, someone else to keep an eye on you as you pursue those goals. I didn't have any useful advice, in the car ride. I'm not exactly sure how that works. But that's how I do it. And maybe that'll help you. I hope it does. And with that, I think it's time for me to sign off. Give us a thumbs up if you like these videos. If you like what we have to say, make sure to give us a subscribe down at the bottom. We have a lot of content that's going to be coming to you over the course of the next few weeks and months. Again, there's a lot that I can't talk about, but I can tell you that we're working very hard to get into pre-production on Quantum Theory, which means we'll start to see artwork from the designers. We'll start to see the rehearsal process come together. We'll start to see the actors and the cast come back home, so we'll have a lot of time to talk to them on the video blog, and hopefully before too long we'll be able to show you some footage from the set during some of these blogs. So give us a subscribe so you don't miss any of that. And in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Have yourself a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.